From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of mankind. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of mankind. May Christ return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, a purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the race of mankind, let the plan of love and light work out. And may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for attending. Today we're going to do a little bit of teaching that's focused on the attributes of the priesthood. What does the priesthood mean? We have a character in Rome who believes that he is senior priest, Catholic priest, Pope, and he's not. You know, a great deal of those popes, I mean a lot of them, were pedophiles, well-known historical pedophiles, rapists, molesters, homosexuals. That's your pope. That's the history of the pope. And if you study further, you'll find that the pope jeopardizes every living human being on earth by creating a false religion called the Catholic Church. And it is an ordained, false, cult-like religion that, of all days, today being Mother's Day, is based on that God is a woman, and in the form of Mary, and that the Father is Lucifer, according to the Catholic Church. And according to many different kinds of religious belief systems, this is something that is held to be a strong belief in the world of Catholic Church. So imagine we have the Pope, and we don't know that the Pope is a pedophile, even though we do know that an enormous number of priests in the Catholic Church molested and raped little boys. Not little girls, but little boys. All over the world. The first pedophile pope historically was known as Saint Damasus. He lived in the 4th century. There have been at least 16 pedophile popes. 16. There was an extremely young one, 17 years old, Pope John, was accused of sleeping with his two sisters and invented a catalog of disgusting new sins. Not only did they invent a whole new religion based on the disciples of Christ and sainthood, they made it so that everybody believed that Mary was the mother of God, and that she was a God, and that she ascended just like Jesus, and that there's really not a big difference between Jesus and Mary. She was completely, according to the Catholic Church, she was absolutely sinless when she was born. She was sinless when she conceived. And that's why they call it an immaculate conception. But that's not really the interpretation of an immaculate conception. An immaculate conception is an incarnation of the Lord, who chooses to incarnate in a woman and further his incarnation without her having sex with a man or choosing to have a child. It's a choice of God to incarnate. And that's what happened. Even says that in the Bible. Gabriel, an angel, appeared before Mary and told her that the angel standing next to him, who was Archangel Michael, was going to incarnate in her without her having sex with her husband. And at the same time, her husband's being told the same story. So they know this is not their child. This is conceived by the Lord, an angel, having nothing to do with whether or not Mary is a god, or that she herself is completely sinless. There's a gravesite for Mary. According to the Catholic Church, she ascended. But you can find her gravesite on the Silk Road. It's extremely famous. And it leads to the place where Jesus went in Srinagar, in Ladakh. And in order to get there, you had to go through the Silk Road. That's real history. But it's not painting history as a religious cult. Yeah. The process of Mary had nothing to do with the incarnation of the Lord. So all of what we experience, we say, oh, Happy Mother's Day. Oh, we're Catholics. Well, Mother Mary of all things. So what if we go back to the Bible and we look to see if there is a name for God? And there is. In the short term, it's called Yahweh. In its long term, it's called Yod-Heh Vod-Heh. And if you interpret it, that means Mother, Father, God. That God is both the Mother and the Father in one being. And he is the Son, known as Jesus. The Mother, the Father, and the Son, the Trinity, in one being, known as God. That's what it says in the Bible. But the Catholics got a hold of it, and the perverted priests got a hold of it, and changed everything. So now we're on Mother's Day. Oh, great. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Father's Day. But you're not talking about Father's Day in terms of God. And you shouldn't talk about Mother's Day in terms of God. If you're going to talk about God, you got to know that God is not an externalization of human reality. God is self-realized, self-actualized, self-created. God is Godhead. God is Mother, Father, God. God is a Yod-He, Vod-He. So when we read that, we have a better understanding of where God's at. But then we have to go back to the beginning of the Bible. And what happened there? God created Adam. That's it. He created Adam in his own likeness, out of the earth. Drew it from his own creation, the entire earth and everything of it, manifested into one person, Adam. And he became the Lord of the world, the first priest, and the only priest. And he was both Mother, Father, God. And after a long time, he felt the need for companionship, a friend, a wife. So what did God do? He put him to sleep. He removed one of his ribs and created Eve out of the rib of Adam, which means she comes from Adam. She's not self-generated. She's manifested out of the Lord. And that's why when they say, this may be jumping a little too far, because most people don't believe that Adam reincarnated as Jesus Christ as a fulfillment of his destiny as the second Adam. And that's well known that Jesus is known as the second Adam. But no one wants to apply reincarnation, even though it is found in great study that when Jesus died, he went to hell to receive the body of Adam. And all saints that had been taken to hell, he brought them all out, redeemed them, allowed them to reincarnate. That's very different than what the Pope puts out. They put out that there is purgatory. You know, you need us because we're going to pray for you while you're in purgatory. What if you don't go to purgatory? What if Jesus went on the cross for you, died on the cross for you, so you don't go to purgatory? So what is the experience of a death experience here in this modern day? When we see people from car accidents and people who die and return, being resuscitated, and they talk about how they left their body, looked down at themselves and saw every event, heard everything that was going on. Yeah. Saw people from their own past life, their own life, who had died. They see them, and they're calling to them to come with them. Leave the scene of the hospital or the accident where they died and move forward. These are the common things, and a lot of times, and for every time, when it's a death experience, it means that the person died, but for whatever reason, they were required to go back into their body and live. So they tell of this experience, and it is an experience had by hundreds of thousands of people. And it's a common experience. And there is, the hell. People see hell. People see all kinds of terrible stuff. But they also see themselves leaving their body, looking back down on their body, feeling no pain, no suffering. And they're led toward the light. Or they're asked to come back. And immediately they're put back in the body. So where's purgatory in that? Where's most of the things that the Catholics talk about are not in the reality. Even in a lot of cases where people have studied the possibility of past life experience, pops right up. Don't have to dig too far. And the strangest thing is that people who are Protestants, people who are atheists, people who are all kinds of religions, remember themselves in the Holocaust as a Jew. In the Holocaust, dying. But now they're a Protestant living in California. Or maybe a Muslim living in India. Or maybe a Buddhist, live in Korea. But one of their lives was a Jew, and they were in the Holocaust. So how does that apply to the fact that once a Jew, always a Jew? What happened? Sounds more like God's in charge than this intellectual thing Judaism puts out, or Catholics put out, or Buddhists put out, all these supposed things that are real or not. And I'm teaching this because I'm a priest. Back to the original priest. What I have to share is not that, I'm some guy who, for some reason, I started having dreams or impressions that I'm, reincarnation of some great priest or something. What happened to me at childhood. I had, just like Jesus had, I had holy men come to me, come to my parents' house, knock on the door, tell them they're from Tibet, like wise men from the East, and they start freaking my parents out, saying that your son is Jesus, is the reincarnation of Jesus. And not just Jesus, but the authority that Jesus brings. He's the head priest for the earth. I was only 9 years old. And I already knew that, because I knew my past life was Jesus. Then they came and they say all this to my parents. They want to take me back to Tibet, which my parents won't allow them to do. And they try and disclaim that it ever happened. Ever. They try and get all my relatives to deny it. Try and get my brother and sister to deny it. They joke about it. Just make me think that I'm crazy. Never happened. So when I turned 30 years old, the Tibetans get a hold of me. And they start giving me all these certificates. This is one of them. This is from Saramay Monastery. And Saramay this is Saramay Buddhist Monastery in India. And there's the original one is in Tibet. It was built by a student of Jai Tsongkhapa. And I'm the reincarnation of Jai Tsongkhapa. There's a lot of people out there who says I'm the reincarnation of Geronimo, or I'm the reincarnation of Cesar Chavez, or I'm the reincarnation of, whatever, But I'm not that. I'm not doing it like that. These people are coming to me. I'm not going out claiming anything. Nothing. I didn't until I was 42 years old. And then I confronted the Tibetans, and this is what happened. They start off by giving me this certificate. And it's from this monastery. And the certificate says, it is stated that an American national, Saint Maitreya Kumara, hails from Hidden Valley Lake, California, in the United States and possesses exemplary character and integrity. Known widely as His Holiness Gawa Jampa, he is a theologian of Maitreya Buddhism and also the well-renowned teacher of soul therapy, with centers known as Buddha Maitreya Soul Therapy Centers and a nonprofit organization, the Church of Shambhala Vajradhara Maitreya Sangha, supporting monastic life amongst Buddhist community in both China, Tibet, Nepal, India, England, and the United States. He is sure to impact a true understanding and embodiment of the Buddha nature. He represents the merging of many lineages, being the incarnation of Buddha Maitreya, Guru Rinpoche, Milarepa, and Jai Tsongkhapa. Now, for most of you out there, you know nothing about Buddha Maitreya. You only know about Sakyamuni. And Sakyamuni and Buddha Maitreya were the closest of friends. During the time of Sakyamuni, Buddha Maitreya was his closest disciple, known as the Bodhisattva Maitreya. And according to Sakyamuni, he would be the next coming Buddha, known as Buddha Maitreya. So I got to be well known during the time of Sakyamuni as the person who interpreted everything Sakyamuni said and made sure that it was properly written down. And then 500 years later, I incarnated after the incarnation of Jesus. I incarnated 500 years after Sakyamuni during that period as Jesus. 500 years later, I incarnated as Guru Rinpoche. And then 500 years later, I incarnated as Milarepa. And then 500 years later, I incarnated as Jai Tsongkhapa. All these are the most famous people in Tibetan Buddhism. They're reformers, so they actually hold the title of the head of all the lineages of Tibetan Buddhism. So it says, in conclusion, we find highly realized person Atuku, born in the western part of the world, in whom he has arisen previous learning, having mastered all the knowledge both of inner and outer in previous lives. He now has spontaneous experiences and realization, becoming the very Lord of compassion and all skillful means through the virtue of his holy name, Buddha Maitreya. Yeah. So that's me. Yeah. And that's Jesus, busy, reincarnating, on the wheel of life, here to serve. But my service is at all times a priest and helping humanity. In Lhasa, I have been enthroned in most of the major monasteries. And Dharamsala, where the Dalai Lama lives and presents himself as Dalai Lama, I built the Great Stupa. I built it. Yeah, it's called the Medicine Buddha Stupa, the Namgyal Stupa. I purchased the land. I bought all the materials to have it built. I brought the monks from my monastery at Drepung. They all lived in that local area. I got a Dharma center and housed all of them. And they built the stupa. You can see a picture of me inside that pyramid. That pyramid is inside the stupa, and it's the energy that is saving all of the people of Tibet. This has inside of it the names of every person who suffered during the Chinese takeover. And that's why I built it, was to take on the full responsibility of Tibet. Leave the Dalai Lama to the side. He is going to just be the last Dalai Lama. He's a mess. So I took over. I built the stupa. The political prisoners, the head of the political prisoners came to me, asked me to do it. I said yes, and we finished it. Here I am at the Jetsun Milarepa monastery that was founded by Milarepa. This is one of my previous lives. And the guru at that monastery passed over to me the lineage holding process of Milarepa and designated me as the reincarnation of Milarepa. From the most majestic Karma Dagu Zholing that is located in the heights of Pokhar, surrounding of Nepal, they send their respect for my manifestation as Jetsun Milarepa, and the characteristics and the symbols from my accomplishments connotes that I have taken rebirth to continue prosper the activities of my previous reincarnation that are much intended for the welfare of all sentient beings. As honorable and eminent Rinpoches have recognized him, our monastery would accept him as the true reincarnation of his previous birth. And it is thus written as the recommendation and also to forward our warm wishes. So this is the office of Tibetan Buddhism. the government. Not the Dalai Lama, but the government. Yeah. And this group of people, are my students. So they asked me if I would do a world peace tour. And I agreed to do it. So I brought the Lumbum monks, same monks who built the stupa. I flew them all the way to England in order to exercise the demonic qualities that are found in England. There are my monks. We were doing a sand painting, and the ceremony went all around, all of Glastonbury. We went on to London and many other places, and Chalice Well and all. You could see a picture of one of my nuns giving a vajra to the now king. And that was a major process for both England and Tibetan Buddhism to help bring about a healing in the process of the nations. So that's very big, very big. Not a little thing. It's a very, very, very big thing. So that process leads to the healing of what is going on. Here I am a priest. Well, there's a lot of people who claim to be priests. And there's a lot of people who think that the presidency, it has something to do with being a king or being an emperor or being something like that. But in reality, it's a priesthood. It's a priesthood. The original first president was Adam. He carried the constitutional wherewithal of virtue, laws, implied those laws into humanity, creating the kingdom of humanity. And in doing so, he created laws that can't and should not be broken. So from the time of Adam on through, judgment came strong, all the way to Noah and the flood. Cain and his killing his brother. Cain and the Canaanites and the process of Babel and Babylon. The fall of the human race, the creation of emperors and kings, delusionists and false priests, all comes from this. It all comes from this. Paganism, gods, goddesses, are all from the foundation of what's known as LGBTQ. It's the demons that have been on this earth since the beginning of time. And they're doing everything to curse every priest, every man, every woman, every child. And they're making humanity pagan. They are unraveling pagan processes of the devil. And the statues of the devil are being created and put in place throughout the United States, throughout England. Without you understanding the reality of God and the wrongness of homosexuality and the wrongness and the blasphemy that's found in the transsexual, in the transgender, in Satan. It's Satan who's transsexual. Satan. So you ask a person, why are you gay? That's why. Why are you transsexual? That's why. Why do you think there's more than one gender? That's why. Because Satan is a liar. Just like in the Catholic Church, they made up a whole other church in order to deceive you before Christ returns. This group of buildings behind me is called New Jerusalem, Shambhala. Yeah. In Judaism, they say, oh, Jerusalem, that's the Holy Mother's Church. Or even Catholics point that out, maybe. But in reality, it's a sacred temple building by Christ, the priest, in order to bring sacredness to the earth and create a sacred planet. We're very unsacred. You think we're sacred? Do you? You think we're sacred? I don't think we're sacred. I think that the people that all of you think are super duper, top of the line, want to be like them, are the worst of all demons on the planet. And you love them. Look at that. Kim Kardashian and her sister in a satanic Christmas card. And they just found out that the mother of this little group of demons has set up a church in order to not pay $500 million in taxes. That's a fact. So what leads us to these people? What leads us to these people is our everyday, average life. The sin of divination. And most people go, housewives, young girls, young boys. They go, oh, tattoos, yeah, I'll do it. Oh, tarot cards, yeah, please do that for me. Oh, astrology, what's your sign? Oh, numerology, I haven't been into it, but I'll try it. Necromancy, nah, I won't use that word. Let's just say channeling the dead. Go talk to your past life daughter or your husband or your father or somebody. As though all you got to do is find a psychic and ask them, can you talk to him? And what you're doing is that you're opening a door to hell. And they're everywhere. They're on every street corner. And the eye of Satan, tarot cards, I Ching, all satanic. All there to deaden your ability to discern and discriminate. It's in the newspaper. Look up your astrology today. Oh, don't go out. It's not a good day for you to go out. Oh, it's a great day for you to do business. Oh, what a good day for a date. Plan your life by the devil. And what are the witches doing? I mean, they're in all these tarot reading places on the corner, everywhere. What are they doing? Look in every single tarot parlor. Look at what they're putting on people. Skulls, demonic symbols, 5-pointed star, hexes. It's so common that in England, the pagan capital of the world, has this. Remember goth? Well, maybe they've gone a little too far. Now what they want to do is they want to poison young children before they graduate. Get rid of them. Get them off the planet. They wrote a book, a manifesto. Marry a man, kill him. Poison him over time. Kill him. Then marry another one, kill him. Marry another one, kill him. Get pregnant, kill them. Have a child, kill it before it graduates. That's their decree. That's their decree. That's their manifesto. Yeah. Let the ladies get together and see what they can come up with. So what happens if homosexuals keep going? And we don't do anything about it. We just, let them come out of the closet, yeah. They want to wear no clothes, walk around the street, go into restaurants. Men with their genitals hanging out. Or wearing dresses with their genitals hanging out. It becomes so common, so everyday, that we have no problem electing these people. Electing them. And come to find out, they are so perverted, they wear dog costumes and have sex with each other as dogs. And this guy is the head of the Department of Energy and Nuclear Energy in our government. Who's making these decisions? Is it you? Nope, you don't vote to get this person in the office. Yep. It's likely Biden's little vice president. And Biden's not a very discerning character when it comes down to homosexuality. And remember all those pedophile priests? Remember the Borgias? They literally put a TV series out because they were so despicable. Sons were killing people. The man wanted to have and had sex with his daughter. He was having sex with multiple women everywhere. He was also gay. They made their nuns prostitutes. And this guy is the first pope to get syphilis. And created male prostitution in Rome. And then there's Syracuse III, known by his cardinals as a slave of every vice. He came to power after murdering his predecessor. He had a son with his teenage mistress, the prostitute of Marozia. 30 years his junior, and their illegitimate son grew up to become the next pope. And you all, so many of you, are Catholics. You're in hell. You can't go in and confess to these assholes. You can't go in and take your rosary and think that Mother Mary ascended and she's God. You're lying to yourself. And what is it like to lie in church? You're told by the priest how to lie. And you don't know you're lying. You've been deceived, told a false story. Peter was never the Pope, never asked to be the Pope. There's nothing in the Bible that states that Peter was to be the Pope. Nothing. How about Boniface VIII? After massacring the entire population in the Italian town of Palestina, he indulged in threesomes with married women and daughters and became renowned through Rome as a shameless pedophile. He famously declared that having sex with young boys was no more a sin than rubbing one hand against the other, which should make him the patron saint of pedophilia in the Catholic priests of today. And you wonder, how is it you could be a Catholic priest and take a young man who comes to you to be in your group with other young men wearing robes, candles, holding incense, and you tell him, you're going to spend the night tonight. We're going to study. Parents don't question it. Kid doesn't question it. And come to find out, he had to jerk off the priest. And then the priest had to jerk him off. And then they had to have sex. And that led to guilt. Is he gay? The boy had to blame himself as though he made the holy priest do things he shouldn't have done. That's what they imply. But if you study it, you'll find that most of these priests do it because it's recruiting. They do it, and when they find a young man that doesn't complain and continues doing it, they offer that person up to become a priest because they would make a perfect pedophile in the priesthood. And they also won't say anything about them having sex with a priest because they're doing it too. So it starts closing the doors behind pedophilia in the priesthood by making sure that the people that you rape become priests and also rape. And that's what happened. That's the church. It's not a church that you think. It's a church of pedophilia. And that's all it is. You're worried about whether or not we've got child, trafficking going on. Are you a Catholic? If you are, then you're in it. You're trafficking the kids right to the priests. And then when you go out into the public, those same priests are going, well, we'll marry men and together. I know we said we won't, but we will now. Sure, we'll marry women and we'll let women become priests. Sure, yeah, why not? Because they're not a church. They're not. They want to stay alive as long as they possibly can. And they will do every bid they have to do with the devil to do so. And I'm a priest. I'm here to tell you, you're being misled. These are all false priests. All of them. The whole entire church. There is not one Catholic that is anything to do with God. I don't care how kind they seem, how generous they seem. If they're a Catholic, they are misled by Satan. And in order to find Christ, they're going to have to find their way out. Because that's the church of Lucifer. And it's sex magic. So you got to do something. You have to do something. So I'm just going to show you this last thing. This is what you're up against. And they use the rays, the colors, the spectrum of the colors that come from God. They have nothing to do with being gay. They have nothing to do with anything to do with their homosexual behavior. They choose these things, these colors, because God creates us with color and light. God creates us with color and light. And they do not want you to know that. They want you to just take on pronouns and accept the fact that someone says your daughter is a boy, and you have no right to make any difference in that statement. And it's no right whatsoever to stop them from doing chemical gender changing. Well, here's my recommendation. Get out of the church. Run. 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 Take your Bible with you and run. Bible's fine. Church is all wrong. Doesn't matter what church you're in, the priest is not a priest. The church is a cult. All you need is the Bible and good friends. Friends who believe in the Bible and know that homosexuality is the worst sin on earth. And that way you can stand up for God. Yeah. In God's reality, God believes that every living human being is meant to be a disciple of God, not some special priest. That you go up and confess your sins as they jerk off on a little 13-year-old boy at night. Real reality hits you. You do not get to see or know the truth. You get to be a part of a lie. You're covering up pedophilia in a church. It's happening at night and during the day in Boy Scouts, in sports teams, even coaches in working with young girls. Gymnasts, they're in prison today because they took advantage of those girls. They can't control themselves. They're just so sinful. And you shouldn't put your children in their hands. You're the parents. You had the child. Yeah, you're responsible for their upkeep. You're responsible for their religious belief, not a church. Don't drop them off at a church. Don't send them to Bible camp. Don't, because they're going to have a homosexual rape them, and then they're going to wonder if they're gay, and they're going to tell them never to tell anybody, and you're going to wonder, why did your child change when they went to church? You know, because trust me, this is the truth of all the history of our human race. 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, year 2000. Boys are being raped in church. A lot. Today, even the Catholics, the Pope himself, is legalizing gay marriage. Yeah, the union between a man and a man. How can you do that? 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 How can you say you're religious in any way, shape, or form and go against God? The worst sin in God's world is homosexuality of any kind. Even bestiality, and that's part of homosexuality. You may think it's just, oh my God, that's so crazy, having sex with a cow? That's insane. That just doesn't happen. You're wrong. It happens all the time. I can show you right now, I can show you on Twitter 5 cases in the last 6 months of men who were caught having sex with cows. So it's pretty not abnormal. You're all really screwed up. You just don't know it's happening because you don't believe it's happening. You accept homosexuality and think that bestiality is an impossibility. It's just the next stage. After homosexuality and depriving another person of their human right to have a soul, you have to move on to greener pastures. Something more perverted. You don't get off enough now that you've got a guy bent over for you. There's got to be more. Maybe 3 or 4 guys, just like all these girls. Having sex with 100 guys in one night. That's a reality. I could show you hundreds and hundreds of women who confess that this is what they do. They love it. And they want more. You are amongst false religions. You are in a pagan world. Most are witches and warlocks. They live in the state of superstition. They carry tattoos and hate the Bible. We're in a terrible state. This isn't about starting a new religion. Yeah. I'm Jesus Christ. Yeah. And I have the Church of Shambhala. What is that? Well, it's what's behind me. It's a scientific, energetic science of God. Applied geomancy. God's sacred geomancy, found in every flower. Yeah. Found in the measurement of your own body. The sacred phi ratio. The Fibonacci. That's what's behind me. And then I do pujas, praising God. Praising God. Yeah? Going against all false teaching. Establishing the true teachings of God on earth in that monastery, on my CDs that I personally did. I personally built this monastery. I personally created all my music. I personally created every single geometric form that I put out to help people. At a young age, I started creating sciences that were taken from Nikola Tesla, which I'd very involved with in my previous life. Establishing many masters to come here and be involved with Einstein and Tesla and other high-minded beings. And we created the new electronics, the new technologies that we now live in today. And that includes energetic medicine, bioenergetic medicine, photo, biomodulation, the healing with color and light, the frequencies of color and light, the magnetic field, sound. All those things are things that I helped to develop since I was a child. That's all I did. I created my first etheric weaver. I created vajras. I made pyramids. That was what I did. I didn't go to school. I couldn't go to school. They all thought I was retarded because I didn't believe in what people believed in. I believed in the science of God. I believed that God existed. I believed that Jesus the Christ was God. Yeah? And I believed that the nature inside of every plant and animal is under the will of God. I do not believe in the premise that we have free will. We don't. Where is it that Noah had free will? Right? Did he have the free will to say no? He was asked to build a boat that would take over 100 years if he had a lot of help. Luckily, he lived over 600 years. And to you, that's a novel, stupid thing to say. But it's true. Because of sin, we do not live that long. All our life has been taken away because we sin. We have no time to experience life at all anymore. We get maybe 40, 60, 70, 80 years. That's childhood to a person who lives 1,000 years. You're missing out on all of your life. But yet, you don't believe it's real. Yeah. So every living human being, according to Jesus, according to Adam, according to God, is incarnated to be a priest. Yeah. Not in the form of, the kind of priest you think, but a disciple. One who could see Jesus, hear Jesus, reflect on Jesus. Know that Jesus is all three aspects of God. No other separate entities, nothing like that. It's all in one person. And those aspects are inside of a human being. So they can transcend limitations and evolve because of Jesus. Yeah. Without Jesus, you are who you are. You're stuck. You're born that person, you're going to die that person. But that's not the way Jesus sees it. Jesus sees that your problem is that you are a sinner. And your sin has made you fall from grace. And you do not see that you're an angel. You do not see God. You do not see the angels around you. You can only see the animals and the animal in the human. You can't see the human, just the animal in the human. So you compete with each other as animals, not as humans. Yeah? Because you're corrupt. You lie, you steal, you rape. That's worse than an animal. That's corrupt. That's a vice. Those are glamours. Those are misuse of any good thing God has given us, and it has a will to give to us. But that's where we all go wrong. Because of Satan, if you study the relationship to Satan, you'll see that Satan's creed is do as thy will. Well, do as thy will, that's free will. Is that where that came from? Satan? Oh my God. Think about it. You're all fighting for your freedom, your free will. I have free will. Do you? Do you? What does St. Francis say? Let thy will be done. How would you possibly do that if you have free will? How could you allow God's will to move through you? How can you allow God's eyes to be your eyes? How can you allow God's ears to be your ears? How could that be? Only if God's will is your will. Not your will is God's will. Sounds confusing, but it's not once you figure it out. We have to learn. We have to develop grace. We have to develop humility. We have to develop virtues. And to do that, we have to recognize our vices and realize that they're sin, that they're not fulfilled by pleasure. They're not fulfilled by fame or fortune. They're not fulfilled at all. They're all temporary. But life is forever. That's the truth. Life is forever. We die and we reincarnate and we keep moving forward. But if we have these little short lives of 40, 50, 60, 80 years, we're not moving forward very well. We're not growing. We're not coming back with more spiritual integrity. We're more frustrated, feeling we had less time. More free will we need. And that's not it at all. You have bought into religion. You've bought into thinking that you should go confess to this pedophile who's having sex with your little brother. Tell him all the sins. I mean, he's just sitting there with saliva and urchin-like creepiness, listening to your life. You desired sex? Ooh, tell me more. These are creeps. They set it up so that they can make you think that they forgave your sins when they are sinners. How do you do that? How do you do it? The Pope is a major sinner. Kills people, rapes people, pedophiles, has sex with his own kids. I mean, come on. Well, you turned a new leaf? You're not the same old Catholic Church. You are. You are. You are. You just a bunch of creepy ass pedophile creatures who are taking the money of people and building the biggest buildings you can find, the most lavish, gold-oriented buildings you could find, and yet they're supposed to feed the needy. How do you put 100 million into 1 billion? You don't live like that. All your time and energy goes toward the service of those in need. That's Christ. He feeds the hungry. So what do? You spend your time trying to figure out how to get enough food for more than just yourself, but for others around you in need, daily. And turn it into something that is nutritious and healthy and joyful. And don't do it with any, negative feeling as though, this is a waste of your time. You're spending so much money. You guys aren't thanking me enough. All my monks and nuns, especially in Omaha and Glastonbury, they're focused. 99% is to take care of others. Go out, drive around, make a whole lot of really good sandwiches with nuts and fruit and clothing and shoes, and look for people on the corner and stop and say hello. Do you need anything? And listen. And tell them you will bring them shoes, their size, and the kind they want. A jacket, their size and the color they want. A blanket, kind of blanket that they want. You know, there are things that make people feel comfortable, taken care of, loved. You know, and it's by giving them the things that they want, things that they need, not just things that you find and then pass on and deal with it. That's heartless, cold-handed, heartless. That's not the way I want my people to behave. I want everybody to know everybody. Say hello, be friends, get to know their name, feed them. Never make them feel guilty. If they ask for 3 bags of sandwiches and you got it, you give it to them. You don't start questioning, are you sure you got somebody else that needs food? You know, are you lying to me? Don't do that. Just trust. Yeah. So that's what we do. It's not a church, even though it's called the Church of Shambhala Vajradhara Maitreya Sangha. You know, there's a reason for that. Because everybody reincarnates, and you don't know it, but you do. You're in a law. You don't have a way to get out of it. You're on the circle of life. You all reincarnate because of me. I went on a cross. I went through everything I did in order to be able to allow you the ability to reincarnate every single life. And for the ability for me to return and reestablish humanity's relationship with God. Building temples, serving people, and developing advanced technologies that heal us. Not make us money, not dig for gold, not make us drive faster, not get us to the Mars, so in case our planet is just none of that. Technology to heal us. Technology to help us advance our natural God-given ability to heal and regenerate. Not just heal, but regenerate. That means we can at 60 years old, if you do everything I say, you will start getting younger. The clock will go backwards. That's a hard one, starting at 60. Be a lot better if you started earlier, but it works. And my recommendation is that you start using light therapy. I pointed out a lot, you know, it's the thing that is the science that I've been helping with. Yeah. And this is called a Biomax made by Platinum LED. It's a Biomax 600, which means I believe it has 600 LEDs on it. And basically it carries an extreme amount of variance to the wavelengths and how it could heal us. And red light is part of the 7 rays, 7 colors, from white light all the way through to the different colors to blue and violet. You know, so when we are at a certain wavelength, you know, those wavelengths, just like they do to a plant, they interact with photosensitive cells. Yeah, the influence inside of our body that interacts with our body. And these different lights that are focused, according to the color, it has a wavelength to it. And that wavelength will penetrate the body further and activate healing faster in a recovery process. Yeah. So it'll affect the lymphatics, it'll affect your muscles, it'll affect your circulation, it'll affect regeneration of cell DNA. Yeah? It'll help to foster the growth of your genes and regenerate new cell tissue. It's always been said that, every 7 years we build a new body. Well, how's that possible when we're growing older? That doesn't make any sense. But yet, in scientific research, we find that that is true. It's just that we don't know what science it takes for us to do that. I'm explaining that this is what it is. There are many different of these types of apparatuses. The one that I focus on, and there are several. There is the Biomax, which is what makes the platinum LED, and that's the one I'm showing you here, where you see all those wavelengths. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wavelengths, right? 7 different rays, 7 wavelengths. It's passing, and each one is able to go a certain depth. Yeah, but in average, there's only these 2 wavelengths, like you see above, and they only pass just so far through skin layer. But this one passes through skin, tissue, muscle, cartilage, organs, and bones. And it stimulates the photosensitive amino acids, proteins, that are activated by the light. So it causes the light to stimulate mitochondria and building of ATP. So you need to study. It'll make you a very different person. Don't worry about the Bible as much as you think, because you're not going to the church anymore. Yeah, you're not listening to the false priest. You're online here with me, and you're having your Sunday church with me. And I'll not only protect you from these false prophets and priests, but I'll lead you to the sciences and healing effects that are in us and have the ability to regenerate our body. Not only our body, but our mind. Imagine how many people are going through Alzheimer's and dementia. Each one of these panels is a different size. So you put one up against you, up against your back, up against your front. A taller one you could have hanging over you, putting out enormous amount of light, affecting you in ways that you just don't know, because we don't know the sciences involved in this process. So now if we take that same light and change it into going to the brain. So we start off, here we have a device called Wyatt. And Wyatt uses the red ray, the red therapy, red LED light therapy, and it uses the near infrared. So both of those are used, which means it will penetrate pretty deeply past the cell tissue and past the cartilage and through the bone. And you do have quite a bit of bone in your cranial region. So what you're looking at here is nasal light that is placed into intranasal. And what happens is that it goes up through the nasal cavity to the bottom side of the brain. And it radiates into that section of the brain, healing it. So a lot of people have a lack of circulation in the brain, have a lack of ability to heal the brain, the cells, the synapse is not working well, and they have dementia. And they have Parkinson's. You know. Well, this device heals both those things. I mean, that's a dead end. When people get it, it's over with. There's no way to get through it. You're going to die, and a bad death. You're going to forget everybody. You're not going to remember anything. It's a bad death. But we have the science. So now this is the device that you put on your head, along with the nasal key that you can see that's in the nose. And all the rest of these devices that you see are LED lights that are the red light and near infrared, and they're pulsed at a frequency that goes along with the alpha and gamma frequencies of the brain. So it helps to regulate those sections, which is a large section of the brain, not a small section, a large section of the brain. And in doing that, synaptically, it's healing the brain. The brain photomodulation heals damaged brain cells, improves cerebral blood circulation, reduces inflammation and toxicity, and regenerates damaged brain cells. In a nutshell, NIR light energy delivered to the brain improves efficiency and performance due to better signal and repairing connectivity between the neurons. The NIR spectrum of light provides the deepest penetration into the brain tissue that also results in benefits. We choose the NIR wavelength of 810 nanometers based on the NIR window to determine the optimal parameters of photobiomodulation. Research that uses the Wyatt technologies, they find out that the brain imaging and the brain signaling techniques are all changed to the better. So as you can see, the wavelengths are totally invisible to our eye, except the very, very higher 800 that gets to the near infrared. And so it's at that point, the light is more of a pinkish hue. You can't really see it. But all the rest of these, you could see. And these are the frequency numbers that they're at. 460, 450, 475, 550, 590, all that. It moves through these different levels in frequency, and that affects the genetic reality of our body. Each frequency, we are made of the 7 rays of God. Yeah. So when they show you, this the satanic symbology, where it is believed that this rainbow flag this right here, this rainbow flag is to take you away from the truth, that you are an incarnation of a child of God, and you're made out of the rays of light. You're made from that, not darkness, not demons, not perversion, not sickness, not illness, not all these things that are given to us by taking away the light. So we are everything that God has created. Everything. So in our process of healing ourselves, we're healing the differences between ourselves and Satan. Satan wants us to believe that we have free will, and we should use that free will for the benefit of Satan, but we don't really know that that's what's going on. We don't know that Satan is going, well, let thy will be done. And we're under the impression that in the Bible it says we have free will. But we don't. Noah did not have free will. Adam did not have free will. Did God say, do whatever you want? Or did God say, don't do that? It's a sin. Don't eat from the tree of knowledge. Don't touch it. And after that, God came with 10 commandments. Where's the free will in that? Don't kill anybody? Don't rape another man's wife? Don't steal another man's horse? Don't kill someone? The only reason it's said is because we can't remember that we're made by God. And these colors, these rays, these chakras, these things that make us spiritual have been deadened, changed. How could they be changed? Imagine there are 7 colors, and they're influencing us in our creation, and it's not necessarily the way we think. Almost everything inside of humanity is based on personality. We have strong tendencies to think that we're gifted, or this person is less gifted. We're smart, and this person's less smart. The only thing that happened is that the blessing of God, read the Bible. Adam and Eve disobeyed God's will. And they were abandoned from paradise. And they lived under the reflection of being sinners. And they have 2 kids. And one of them kills the other. Another sin. Over time, all those sins were written down in the 12 commandments. Imagine here we are with these 7 colors, and they're all coming out of white light. There's 7 frequencies coming out of God. Pure white light. And out of God is virtues. Each one of those colors is an incredibly strong virtue that brings people to godliness, to sacredness. But if we are led to believe that we have free will, then what, if anything, would change our mind to think that God's will is what is influencing me, and I need to listen because God guides me. God tells me right from wrong through my conscience. God tells me right from wrong and gives me information through my mind, through my thinking, through my discernment and discrimination. But you lose all that. And what takes its place is religion and a false priest like Satan standing there saying, yeah, look, you have free will. That's not true. Only Satan says you have free will. Now use it. That's what got Eve to eat the apple. That's what got Adam to eat the apple. You have free will, now use it. And it's not true. You don't have free will. If you wait just a second longer, your conscience will click in. Your mind will readjust to discern and discriminate. That's just what we do. We're human beings. We're not animals. But without this spiritual integrity, we are animals. We are animal man, animal woman. We are the beast. And amongst us is the Antichrist and the harlot. They enter everywhere. They become your religion. They become your president. Even the First Lady. I mean, of all things, the last thing in the world you would ever think is the First Lady is a harlot. An OnlyFans person. A porn star. Our First Lady. It's who she is, who she was, who she will always be. These are evil people. That's your First Lady. That's your First Lady. What does she have sitting there? Is that jewelry? Is that a whole bunch of jewelry? Well, all of you are impoverished. Is she all sexy? Well, all of you are ugly. Is she full of power, sitting in a captain's chair with some kind of space thing on her head? What the hell is that? That's our First Lady, Melania. That's our First Lady, Melania. So why is it she's not having problems with Stormy Daniels or the fact that her husband was living with another lady who was a Playboy model in her own bed? She went from Obama being First Lady to this person being First Lady. And we're supposed to just go, huh, that makes sense. I don't see any problem. Her husband just grabs women by the privates and kisses them and has sex with them, rapes them because they look like her daughter, not her daughter, but Ivanka. And he just has to have sex with Ivanka, but he can't. So he rapes a little girl who looks like her. And what happens with Trump? What happens with any guy like Trump? He's a liar. Completely deceptive. That's Trump.
Atlantic City's skyline had a major makeover this week as the former Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino was blown up in a controlled demolition. There was even an auction to sell 10 seats for an implosion viewing party at another space with clear views of the former president's former casino. According to the mayor of Atlantic City, Marty Small, the road to get here was tedious. Trump opened the Plaza Hotel and Casino in 1984. It was one of 3 casinos in Atlantic City with the Trump name.
Amidst great hoopla this week, Donald Trump is opening his $1 billion Taj Mahal casino in Atlantic City.
The other 2 were the Trump Taj Mahal, which is now the Hard Rock.
Can you imagine? He calls it Taj Mahal. Doesn't Taj Mahal already have a name? How do you take something that's one of the biggest landmarks in the world, and it's the only place in the world named that place because it was named by the Taj, and yet this guy figures, why not? I'll steal the name, I'll put it on my hotel in another country, and no one could do anything about it, and it'll attract thousands of people thinking that it is the Taj Mahal, because they've never been to India, they have no idea. He's conned more people than you can ever imagine. Between him and Elon Musk, you're having a great time. A great time. Yeah. So let's do a puja. Okay, so the one we're going to do is called I Take a Body. And just try and remember, that the teaching that I'm giving is to save you. The teachings that are given by anybody is wrong. The teaching that is found in any church, whether it be Muslim or ancient or Catholic or Orthodox or Baptist or Protestant or Methodist or whatever, it's wrong. It's wrong. In a really big way, it's wrong. They're taking advantage of you. They are not in any way, shape, or form priests. They would have to be ordained by the second coming of Christ. You need to understand what I'm saying. Imagine, this is the time of the second coming of Christ. So what happens? What, does he just fall in line with the Catholic Church? You think? Or fall in line with the Dalai Lama? Or fall in line with the local Baptist church? Not at all. Or accept transgender teachers as priests? Or two gay women standing there with rainbow flags? You think Jesus is going to have a feeling that, gee, they're all disciples, I'll just fit right in? Think about it. You do not have another alternative but me. Period. Zero. Zero. Your only other alternative is to die. And I'll see you when you die. And we'll start there. Or you can help your friends. And you can let them know that I am here. And all religions are wrong. All of them are wrong. Wrong. There's no way we should have ever gotten to a point to where we have a president that is the most corrupt person on planet, who is in the process of going to jail for rape and molestation and everything you can think of, who takes a Bible and reprints it with the Constitution added to it, so that people will elect him as the orange Jesus with a Bible. As though he has something. He's just like one of those priests. He's a fake. His wife is a fake. Ivanka is a fake. The man goes about and says, hey, look, I am not going to let any gay marriage take place. And I am not going to let any transgender take place. But is that true? On another day, he's standing there saying, I am the most transgender positive president you'll ever elect. Elect me. And his daughter comes out, Tiffany. Oh, my father, he is number one, transgender, trans everything. Oh, wow. If you want a president that will support you, you need to support him. Melania, she's at a big event of transgenders. Oh, yeah. My husband, he's 100%. He would never allow women or men to marry same sex. He will not do it. And that's not true. That's not true. At the events of Donald Trump, he plays the theme song of homosexuals. He plays the theme song of homosexuals, sang by homosexuals, dressed up as Indians and plumbers and policemen and firemen. You know, YMCA, Come on, all you little boys, let's go have sex at the YMCA. Come on down. That's what it's saying. And he loves that song. It's his theme song. Then he took the prisoners who killed the police at January 6th, who are in prison today for it. He got them to re-record the national anthem with their voices, claiming to be the only patriots in America. And they're in prison for tyranny. And yet, masses of people are out there, like Marjorie Taylor Greene and others. Trust me, you need to totally get it together. You need to focus on healing, get out of your church, put your tennis shoes on, and run. Don't go to the church, go to the gym. Don't go to the church, buy some light therapy. Get some light. Heal your brain. Heal your body. Stop following these priests. Don't give them any money. Ever. Give money to the people on the street. Go buy a hamburger and give it to someone. But don't give it to a church. They'll use it for sex trafficking. They'll use it for pedophilia. They'll use it to cover it up. Don't do it. Use a little discernment and discrimination. Okay, so let's meditate. Just close your eyes.
Atlantic City's skyline had a major makeover this week as the former Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino was blown up in a controlled demolition. There was even an auction to sell 10 seats for an implosion viewing party at another space with clear views of the former president's former casino.
That body is alive. I know its life. I therefore know my mother. I use a body. That body is not me. I serve the group, and in this serving live within the body. detached, a son of God. I know myself. I infuse a body. I am its life, and in that life shall I see life. That life is known as love. I am the love of God. I know the Father, and I know His light is love. I am the body and its loving life. I am the self, whose quality is love. I am the life of God Himself. The Mother, Father, Son, am I. Behind these three stands the unknown God. That God am I. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of mankind. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love, within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of mankind. May Christ return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men and women, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, we call the race of mankind. Let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. The colors of the manifesting one. Sevenfold the work. 7 the energies. And sevenfold the path back to the center of peace. Let the disciple live in love and love in life.
Okay, just relax. So, in order to establish true spiritual guidance and protection on this planet, it's an angelic endeavor. And every living human being is an angel. That's their makeup. They're made from God, and God makes angels. And that process that God creates in making the angel and the human being it creates the ability of strength and courage and understanding and discernment that becomes the adept's way of life, the disciple. They are more courageous. They can discern and discriminate and make sense of things. So over the last couple hundred years, we have historical relationships with our past that show that we have healed our nation many times. And the biggest way that we did it was through marshals and sheriffs. And they were extremely capable people. The main thing is that they were extremely accurate at using a rifle or a sidearm, a pistol. Not only were they accurate, but they were faster than a half a second. Half a second, if not less, is how long it took for them to pull their gun and shoot and aim and hit exactly what they're aiming at, on the mark. Every shot. And that's a marshal. That's a sheriff. If they're really good, like Wyatt Earp. And many, many others. Even his brothers, Morgan Earp. So we have in our history, we have the process of the life of saints that is totally different than what the church says. In the Bible, it says that our main saint is Archangel Michael. And he stands with a sword because there's no guns at the time. And he stands on the head of a dragon and slays them. Sometimes 3-headed dragons, sometimes one. But he destroys them, and they no longer walk the earth. And that's how justice is done. Not by hanging, shooting, or killing, but by stopping. Right in their boots. So for your education, for your process, I recommend that all of you watch one particular program on TV. It's called The Legend of Wyatt Earp. It's by Hugh O'Brien. And it was done, I believe, in 57. Could have been 58. I was around 7 or 8 years old. I loved it. I was crazy about it. My parents were crazy. Everybody was. Every single person in America watched that show. And it taught us something. It taught us how to behave. Throughout the show, you see that Wyatt Earp doesn't kill anybody. He chooses not to kill. He chooses to aim and shoot the gun out of their hand. Or shoot their hand. Or shoot the object. Or take their gun and hit them in the head with it. But he doesn't kill. He chooses. He's so good, so fast. Before they ever pull their gun out, his gun is already aiming at them. And if it looks like they're going to shoot, he's already shot them. There's one, and all the show is based on true story. The names, the interactions, the circumstances are all true stories. So it helps you see the discernment and discrimination of an incredibly wise police officer. One of the things he does that's very unique is that he takes all the guns away from everybody. Puts a sign up on the outside of town and at every major location in town that says, by law, you cannot wear or carry a gun or carry a rifle. You have to leave it at a designated location. And it'll be given back to you when you leave town. And that just simply was the wisest thing anybody ever did. But it was almost impossible to pull off. You had to be the best shot, the fastest gun. You had to be able to make them do it. And once they did do it, you became the town of more law and control. And if people didn't follow that, they went directly to jail and paid a fine. And if they were willing to abide by that law, they can remain. If not, they had to leave town. Watch the show. Watch how he deals with people. Every single show is a true story of circumstances. Any other person, if they had been in those circumstances, would have made the wrong decision. Would have made a violent, kill him immediately decision. But that's not what goes on. You know, it will help you discern, discriminate how not to be violent and get the job done. Yeah, it's really, really, really important. This is law. This is about law. This is about justice. This is about taming an untamed wild country and how it was done. It doesn't matter how you think it should be done. It is how it was done. Yeah? And it wasn't done by free will. They had to obey the law. God's law is the will. And if we don't abide by that law, it is a sin. And we have to pay for that sin. That's justice. So that we don't do that sin again. Yeah. It has to be that way. You don't take the law in your own hands. You don't get angry and punch someone out. You don't push people around. You don't even scream at them or go violent. You step back and you let other people negotiate the situation and see it for clarity, what really is going on here. And let's stop it. Yeah. So watch that show every night. Try and watch at least one. They're only 30 minutes long. Watch them from season 1, buy all the episodes. Watch them from season 1, episode 1, all the way to season 6 and the last episode, which will surprise you. You'll think it's going to continue on and on and on, but it don't. It ends. And that's fine. But then there's another show after that. Yeah. And it's one that helps you to be a family member, a member in society, a regular community person in a more modern day kind of life. It's called Father Knows Best. Yeah. And you may think that, oh my God, you know, what are you going to ask me to watch Leave It to Beaver? Yeah, one day. Yeah. But right now, Father Knows Best is the best saintly TV show. Written, produced, and directed. And even Leave It to Beaver. The father on that show was a minister. In real life. You know, so these people had integrity of wanting to put out family viewing that would give morals and ethics and guidance and not be involved in the church as much as what we are, but more in the process of being good to your family, being true to your brother, being honest to your mother and father, carrying out what it is you say you're going to do and you do it. What happens if you don't? Watch Father Knows Best. They have a little girl, they have the oldest daughter, they have the middle son, a husband and a wife. Just like a regular average family. Now, all of them got their big problems. All of them are very different. So they have to cope with different things, and they all have to learn. The father doesn't know best, really. The father is learning. The mother is learning. Children are learning. They're all learning together through life's circumstances. And how you deal with them is what that show's about. So I recommend that you watch it. Don't take it in a mundane state. Think of it as an overshadowing of Jesus the Christ and modern day religion. Keeping us away from homosexuality and lesbianism and all the things that we think are, there are those people out there that are like that. Actually, there are not. Mental illness does exist, but that doesn't mean we have to normalize it. We need to help those people. So watch that show. Don't try and watch them both. Get through the process of Wyatt Earp. It's really important that you watch that show, because you need to learn how justice does work and law does work. And going through the court system, going through lawyers, putting people in jail, not killing people, thinking that you could just hang them and get it over with, but actually go through the process of law. It's compassion and empathy and understanding at the highest level. So watch that show. Stop watching all the other shit, Kardashians or anything else that you're watching, and trying to step into an area that I'm hoping that you will do it. I'm hoping that you will do the red light daily, at least an hour a day. I'm hoping that you will meditate, and I'm hoping that you will show up on every Sunday and attend my form of church, which is Sangha. Every living human being is a disciple of God, is a child of God, and they need to be talked to that way. And there's not an alternative teaching. It's not Muslim, it's not Buddhism, it's not Catholic, nothing. It's Jesus and the human race and their relationship to being a child of God, and how to straighten this out. How to recognize the false prophets, how to recognize the Antichrist, how to recognize the harlots, and not be drawn into it. This isn't the time to be marrying or dating or anything like that. Step back. Watch this shit. See how crazy it really is. Do not get committed to anywhere in any of it. Use red light. Eat well, go to the gym, get through the day, get a good night's sleep, and get through the next day. That's it. That's it. I'm not saying, do 100,000 mantras or, do anything other than heal yourself. Heal thyself. Eat right. I've told you what to eat. Eat it right. Keto. Eat it. Control it. No drinking, no alcohol, no cigarettes. No pop, no cola, no fast food. Discern and discriminate. Any choices you make at a restaurant or any place you go to, take the time to discern and discriminate. don't think, oh, this is my cheat day. Don't have a cheat day. You're not living a hard life that you have to cheat. You need to honor what you're doing, and you need to recognize what you're doing is the right thing to do, and not that it's a hard thing to do and you have to cheat in order to get through it. That's crazy. Okay, so stay focused, enjoy yourself, listen to my pujas, and attend next Sunday. And there's a darshan coming up, and it would be great if a lot of you attended. I would like 500 people, but everybody's shooting for about 120. So that's what it is. But I've been doing this. I'm now 73 years old. You would think I would have at least 500 students, but I don't. And that's not right. It's not good for the earth. It's not good for you. It's not good for Sangha. It's not good for anything. So we need to do what we can to change that, and try and, don't say go to church or go to this or that. No, I'm it. And everybody needs to be coming to my pujas and listening to my teachings and self-healing and using every single thing I say to do self-healing for themselves, their friends, and their business. And let's make this a better place. As of tomorrow, we go. Every day we're on this. No cheat day, no breaks, no vacations. Every day is a vacation. Every day is a holy day. Get focused. Okay, thank you very much.